A lot of cis people don't understand why trans and non-binary people have campaigned for abortion rights in places like the US and Ireland. This is partly because, of course, there are plenty of us who can become pregnant, but it's also because of the principle of bodily autonomy. The right to bodily autonomy is as fundamental as any other human right. If you claim to be in favour of abortion, you cannot be opposed to trans healthcare, including the right for young trans and non-binary people to pause puberty. Many years ago, when the current wave of transphobia started in the UK, trans and non-binary people here said it was powered by the extreme right. Anti-trans groups promoted by the UK mainstream media either had conveniently opaque funding sources or funding that could be traced back to US groups like the Heritage Foundation, a far-right anti-abortion group that Liz Truss recently worked with. Anti-trans campaigners claiming to be feminists write in reactionary anti-abortion media like The Spectator and the Murdoch Times. Organised transphobia in the UK has always been fascist. It's just become more obvious recently. UK gender-critical transphobes have allowed their rhetoric to be recycled by the far right, legislating against trans rights. The same people now legislating against abortion in the United States. And British anti-trans activists also recycle far-right rhetoric. The phrase they use, gender ideology, is from European fascists. The phrase was used in 2013 to shut down an LGBTQ conference at the University of Verona, silencing feminist and LGBTQ academics in Italy. UK transphobes' anti-trans ideology is fully supported by every far-right politician: Donald Trump, Tommy Robinson, Viktor Orban, Marine Le Pen, and of course Vladimir Putin. Politicians who also oppose abortion. And gender criticals have long supported and worked with right-wing cis men who fully oppose abortion rights. This is one of the reasons why FGen, the Feminist Gender Equality Network, a group of academics around the world, was started partly to reclaim feminism. It is no coincidence that the transphobic hard right that supports British gender criticals is also viciously anti-feminist. Far-right anti-abortion, anti-feminist groups in the US and elsewhere have been pouring millions into the UK, and consequently anti-trans campaigners have been spending millions on media propaganda, flying in speakers from around the world and putting them up in hotels, hiring multiple expensive venues for rallies, paying for expensive and ultimately hopeless court cases, most of them, expensive adverts in newspapers, slick websites, glossy propaganda, dodgy research, and professional SEO. While they're boosted by a mainstream media which also silences and in some cases censors us and refuses to permit the meaningful investigation or criticism of hate groups. For example, when Judith Butler was censored by The Guardian. So you can follow the political links or you can follow the money. The trail leads to the same place. Gender critical transphobes are in bed with the people who ended Roe v. Wade, something which will cost thousands of lives in the US, including those of cis women they claim to be protecting. And I say this to all those who thought the far right might stop at trans and non-binary people. You are the most deluded of all. They didn't start with us, and they won't stop with us. They've already come for abortion in the US and some parts of Europe. They're already coming for your human rights in the UK, for democracy and the right to vote. They're already coming for Gillick. They will come for same-sex marriage, for the right to love who you want to love. They'll come for IVF, especially for lesbians and bi women, for the right of same-sex couples to adopt children, for inclusive sex and relationships education. They will come for contraception, for intersectional feminists, trade unionists, human rights campaigners, people who want to stop climate change, and in the US, quite possibly for interracial marriage. They will come for all of us if we allow them to. So to be clear, to conclude, trans and non-binary people have never been and never will be a threat to cis women. But anti-abortionists, the extreme right, and the gender-critical transphobes who support them are a threat to cis women and will always be. Thank you.